Hi, this is Sam Warner, the naturopath behind Naturisme. Today I wanted to talk to you about stress, toxicity and infertility. In my practice as a naturopathic fertility specialist, I've seen many couples over the years trying to fall pregnant both naturally and using reproductive technologies. And one of the most common denominators amongst all couples as to why they can't fall pregnant is stress, both mental, emotional, and stress from their physical habits such as diet and lifestyle. So I wanted to talk to you today about some of these factors and how you can make a difference to your fertility. Some of the most common things in our lifestyle that we're exposed to that we're unaware of may be things like heavy metals. Heavy metals such as lead, mercury and cadmium all have negative impacts on fertility. Number one, they displace zinc, which is an essential mineral for both the formation of hormones, the healthy egg and healthy sperm. And in fact, people who are exposed to heavy metals or have zinc deficiencies are more likely to have babies who have more congenital malformations or to experience miscarriages, which occur in about 1 in 3 to 5 pregnancies. So it's a very common thing. However, they come from many possible reasons, and one of them is toxicity. Outside of heavy metals, other toxins we may be exposed to are chemicals in the environment and in our food. Commonly we're exposed to pesticides in the food we eat, and we call these chemicals xenoestrogens. They're also present in many other places in our diet, from plastics that we use in food containers and storage, in chemicals we spray around our house for cleaning, in beauty products, cosmetics, hair, skincare. These chemicals are almost incredibly widespread through everything that we eat or touch in our environment. Unfortunately, when they get into the body, they act like estrogen, hence the name xenoestrogens, and they can confuse the body. They actually work at a much higher intensity than normal hormones and stimulate things like cancer in the long run. But in the short term, they can lead to conditions like estrogen dominance, which is seen in patients who might have PMS or endometriosis or fibroids, recurrent miscarriage, and many other problems into later life also. So we can avoid these by eating organically, choosing natural, environmental friendly products on both our skin and in our house, and choosing to use glass containers instead of plastic. Also good for the environment in the long term. Another factor that a lot of people aren't aware of that affects their fertility is the use of the oral contraceptive pill or other hormonal contraceptions such as Depo-Provera or Implanon. All of these contraceptives use an artificial or synthetic form of estrogen and progesterone, and unfortunately both of these are recognised as carcinogens. In the body, when we're exposed to it over long periods of time, and I might see people who are using them for 10 or more years before they decide they want to make babies, these hormones are difficult to get rid of. They build up in the system. They tend to lead to the common side effects of being on contraceptives such as weight gain, low libido, depression, anxiety, and these symptoms, if they persist, of course, are going to create a problem once people come off the pill and attempt to fall pregnant. Ideally, we need about 6 months between coming off the pill and choosing to fall pregnant. If we don't, then what we're seeing is that people are having a greater risk of miscarriage, and also the babies conceived early off the pill actually have a higher risk of congenital malformations. So there's a strong link with infertility. In fact, the companies who make fertility drugs and sell them to women who are trying to fall pregnant actually recognise that the biggest users of their fertility drugs are women who have been on oral contraceptive or other hormonal contraceptives from their teens until their late 20s or early 30s. This is their recognised target market, which tells us that these drugs actually have very significant effects on our fertility. It's a good idea to explore other options for contraception, particularly just before attempting to conceive, and you might want to explore the Billings method, the natural fertility management method, or other symptothermal type approaches that put you in touch with your body and your symptoms and let you know when to abstain from intercourse so that you don't conceive. Lots of people trying to make babies aren't really aware that perhaps they should stop smoking or drinking, and other social toxins or poisons such as smoking marijuana or even caffeine are all recognised toxins for fertility. They'll all reduce the quality of sperm produced or egg produced, the ability to conceive, and in fact the ability to have a healthy baby, especially if those drugs are continued throughout the pregnancy. A lot of them will reduce your nutritional quality, so you'll reduce zinc, as we've mentioned, which is essential, but many other nutrients, including vitamin C and vitamin A, will also be affected by these drugs. So it's important that we make a conscious decision that we're going to fall pregnant, and that we make a space in our lives to reduce our exposure to these, if not cut them out entirely, and then we'll see that our fertility is actually increased quite dramatically. Another factor a lot of people aren't aware of is sleep. Sleep deprivation is probably one of the most common presentations of people, even if they don't recognise they're not getting enough sleep. Sleep is the time when our body detoxifies, when we make hormones, and when our body is renewed for the next day. If we don't get a minimum of 8 hours sleep, then a lot of these processes don't occur, and we find that they'll have an impact on our ability to make a healthy set of hormones and be able to fall pregnant. We really need to be sleeping somewhere between 9 and 10 o'clock in the evening, and getting up somewhere between 6 and 7 in the morning. And this will give everybody a full night's rest and a very healthy complement of hormones and a very healthy liver detoxification profile. One of the things that leads people not to get enough sleep is stress. In fact, stress is so ubiquitous through society today that no one is safe from it. It's the pressure of our jobs, it's deadlines, it's unhealthy relationships, it's a difficult boss, it's 5 kids. It could be any number of things that cause us to feel stressed. Unfortunately, stress is a major factor in reducing your ability to conceive and hold a healthy pregnancy. Animals in captivity or under stress find it very difficult to breed, and humans really are no different. So we need to address stress in our life. Even if our life seems perfect, there can be subconscious stresses that we're not aware of. Perhaps money has become a little tighter, perhaps our partner seems more vague and distant, perhaps our job seems a little bit at risk. These factors can all suggest to our subconscious that now is not the best time to breed or reproduce. And so it will put your ovulation on hold. Delaying ovulation often leads to a poorer quality egg and lower levels of progesterone. It may actually stop you from ovulating altogether. It may stop the sperm from penetrating into the uterus and causing conceptions. And if you do conceive, stress can cause the uterine lining to actually reject implantation. The final straw, if you do fall pregnant, if stress persists, your body may decide that this is definitely not a good time to have a baby, and you may naturally abort that pregnancy. So stress, we can see, can be a factor all the way through from conception to holding a pregnancy. We really need to address ways of dealing with this, maximising our relaxation and minimising the amount of stress and tension in our life. Exercise, proper sleep, good nutrition, a healthy diet, and good attitudes are probably the best things we can work on to help reduce stress. Other types of stresses that I see impacting people's fertility is a history of sexual trauma in both men and women. So if there's been any history of that in your life or in someone you know, the ability to fall pregnant can be impaired due to the energy in the system being withheld from the reproductive system due to trauma. Other areas may be our attitude towards sexuality or our attitude to becoming a parent. Women, of course, spend most of their life hoping against hope that they're not going to fall pregnant, that it's the worst possible news to find out they're pregnant. And of course they make a decision sometime in their late 20s or 30s and that they want to make a baby, but now the subconscious is still running the don't fall pregnant at all cost program, and we find that we're running at odds there, and that may need to be shifted. I use a technique called Psych K, which I find very effective for that. Women who have higher levels of cortisol are found to be more likely to miscarry in the first 3 weeks of their pregnancy. It's also likely that women experiencing stress will take longer time to fall pregnant. And there have been studies to show that women and couples who are undergoing IVF, the more stress management they do before they proceed into IVF, the better the IVF outcomes. So truly, reducing toxicity and managing stress in your life can be the keys to improving your fertility and having a healthy pregnancy and a happy, healthy baby. All the best of luck to you.